What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Brand Doctor live stream. It is Wednesday, July 14th, 2021. I'm with my man, Oasis Qureshi, in the house. What's shaking, my dude?
What's going on, man? We're at the middle of the week and powered up, man.
Dude, I'm fired up, man. We're finally getting some nicer weather around here. It's been raining like insanity the past couple of weeks, man. It's been nuts. I got my shirt. I was telling you in the green room. I got my Nathan Chan from Founder shirt on. I'm feeling very Nathan Channy today with my pink button up with the top button. No, big shout out to Nathan. I love Nathan. He's got a great brand over there in Founder, and he's doing some huge things. And big shout out to Nathan. But man, so today we're going to be talking about the future of personal branding for college athletes. And the reason why I thought this was relevant to what it is that we constantly talk about is this revolves heavily around personal branding and how personal branding is now in the national spotlight, if you will. And how this is affecting college athletes, college sports. Not to get into the weeds with all of that, because I know my audience, they're not college athletes. However, they are people that want to leverage their personal brands to monetize their expertise. And this is where it gets relevant. And so we did some research over the past few days on this issue, or this, I should say, topic. I don't know if it's an issue anymore because it's been passed since, I think June 21st, they said this is
last month.
Yeah, we're moving forward with this. But the topic we're going to be talking about is the NIL debate. And it's no longer a debate, like I just mentioned, but NIL stands for name, image, and likeness. And basically what the courts have passed and the NCAA has approved is that the ability for student athletes to profit off of their names, likeness, their image, and their online celebrity. And so this just raises a lot of questions about, well, what does the recruiting process look like? And what does this look like for revenue for the colleges moving forward? And it's just so interesting because there's so many people out there that are like, oh, personal branding, it's a fad. Oh, it's just for people that have big egos and want to inflate themselves up. I've heard it all. But now look at what personal branding is doing for college athletes.
Yeah, it's a tremendous opportunity for anyone that wants to be able to maybe, many of these college athletes are coming in and they're being given grants or they're being given some sort of scholarships, right? But what if that's not going all the way, right? I mean, maybe that's just the desire. So I don't want to jump too far ahead of our talking points, but just various scenarios to consider in terms of why someone might need to monetize their brand.
Right. Well, one of the big things is, and we talked about this prior to the show going live, and we talked about how it all comes down to a big question, and the big question is, so you want to become an influencer online. So who do you want to influence? Like, have you gotten that part down yet? And I would say that a majority of people see the endorsements, they see all the flash and the highlight reels online. And so they want that, but they don't realize what comes along with that. And the work that needs to be put in to make that happen. Right. And so you brought up a great point that I really want to start with. And it's misallocating your time, your money, your resources because you're unclear on how you're positioned in the marketplace. So I would love for you, because I saw you getting real passionate about this particular point
Yeah.
when we were in our pregame warm up here. So let's talk about that for a while, because I think even including myself might have fell I don't want to say victim, but fell for some of the glitz and the glam.
Yeah. You know, it's so easy to go down that road, right? In terms of being unclear, but you're saying, okay, well, I think I saw a quote about this earlier, about how having strategy and with no tactic is just, it's not gonna create any result.
Mm-hmm.
But then having tactic without strategy is just all it is just making noise and absolutely no results. Same
Right.
thing. So that's where I was moving with that. Where it's like, look, you're spending all your time and effort into doing something without actually having a clear line of sight of how you're positioned in the marketplace. So in that marketplace for college athletes, of course, might be pertaining to getting an endorsement, maybe getting an additional grant to pay for school, right? Maybe it's a charitable contribution. Maybe it's something that they have a very close sort of a connection with in terms of a specific cause that they want to be aligned to, and at a very early at a very early stage in their career, they want to really focus on that, to be able to say, look, I want to use my influence to bring some good in this particular state, in this particular space. So regardless of what that might look like, if you have not properly defined how you want to represent yourself and how you want to speak on in regards to all of those things, you're wasting your time. And if your desire is to be able to gain any sort of momentum using yourself as a brand, you're using your name, your image, your likeness, you want to make sure that you're clear on that, because if you're not clear on it, guess what? We as the audience are not going to be clear on it. And we're not going to know what you represent.
And you know what I want to say to that? I think these college athletes that have been fortunate enough to build up this huge image online, I think they put a lot of emphasis on demonstrating who they truly are. And I think that's what has gotten them to the level of fame at such an early age, is because at such an early age, they've been able to really just articulate who it is that they really are, and they're not apologizing for it.
Right.
And
but it's the ones that are effectively doing that, right? There's their counterparts, they're their peers that might not be as effective or as consistent in getting that message out there.
Yeah. And that comes down to being intentional. Yeah. I think there's a lot of people that are doing, like, when I was doing my research, I forget the kid's name, but he's raising money for some foundation that helps families in Haiti. That's a huge plus.
Yeah.
For that kid's personal brand. And like, I don't know about you, Oase, but in college, I was not thinking about donating to foundations to support other countries. I was worried about what party I was going to next. I mean, who's kidding who, right? But that says a lot about that guy. And I'm sure that's going to pay off in spades. And I'm sure that's not why he's doing that. He probably has a passion for that, or there's got to be some sort of personal connection there, perhaps. But yeah, it just goes to show that personal branding is now a big thing. That's right. And it's leaking down into the the college sports, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And I'm very, very curious to see what happens over the next few years as college students and athletes can now benefit from big endorsement deals from Nike and Under Armour and Adidas. So very, very, very cool stuff coming along in the next couple of years. Now, a couple of things that I wanted to highlight, and I think this may be an advantage to some personal brands moving forward. And we'll keep it in the sports arena for a second, but then we'll pull out. You don't have to be a tremendous athlete anymore. You don't have to be the next LeBron. You don't. Let's take Tim Tebow, for example. This guy was like in and out of the league. He was playing around in baseball for a minute. And then I caught an article that featured him and the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Jacksonville Jaguars were interested in bringing him on the roster. Things haven't been, as of today, it's not confirmed if he's going to be part of that roster yet. But the Jacksonville Jaguars, let's call a spade a spade. I'm not a huge NFL follower. I'm not going to know everybody's name or know the stats of everybody, but let's just say Cam Newton, their so-called star quarterback, hasn't been pulling his weight over the past couple of years. And so they've been struggling as an organization and as a franchise. But this guy, Tim Tebow, has this massive social following. And people love this kid, right? So what is that going to say, or what is that going to do for the Jaguars organization if they do bring him on board? Man, and he's not even going to be a quarterback. He's going to be a different position. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, because the one thing that Tim Tebow has been really good at is building a personal brand online.
Yeah.
So interesting stuff. How do you think this is going to play out?
Well, I think it's definitely going to put him in the limelight. If it already hasn't, right? So, of course, the endorsements, the all of the other associations that come with it, I think those are going to be the byproduct of all of the work that he's already put in. I mean, I've seen Tim Tebow show up in my feeds out of nowhere, and it's not even anything pertaining to football. It's all about him, following a specific cause, just showing up and taking a stand about something, right? So, to me, that has really elevated his, his standing and his presence for a lot of people that perhaps weren't even aware of who he was prior to that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. So, a couple things that I want to highlight here before we start to wrap up is, here's the question to the audience, really. What are you actually wanting to gain out of investing in your personal brand? I had this guy reach out to me on Facebook not too long ago, and he says, "Hey man, how can I learn more about you and your services?" And I says, "Have you checked out my website yet?" And he's like, "No." I said, "Okay, why don't you go check it out?" And so he checked it, and I said, what are you looking for?" And he was like, "Well, personal branding." And you could tell he was in the fitness space. So he was some sort of trainer or of some sort, right? And I think, to be honest with you, I think I was a little out of his league. After I did a little research on him, it looks like he was just starting out. So I probably was not the right fit for him at the time. But I would have loved to pitch the question to him right then and there in the message, like, if personal branding is on your radar, what are you really trying to gain out of building a personal brand. So that's my question to the audience today is what are you trying to do with your personal brand? And what are you trying to get out of it? What's your gain here? Because one of the things that I'm noticing now that I'm really studying this over the past 4 or 5 years and being around some really big personal brands that have built big businesses around their names is that there's a trend. And any person that's been around for a while doing what they do best notices trends. And the one thing that I notice is that when they are starting out their business, their brand revolves around them. And they become the brand in the beginning. Like they are the brand. And then as they grow and continue to reinvest in themselves, in their business, there becomes this transition phase. And this transition phase starts to now build out the business side of the brand that becomes much bigger than them. I'll give you a quick example. Kaylin and Brandon Poland, AKA the Lady Boss brand. I'll never forget this. I remember when they were in their infancy stages, Brandon reached out to me. Forget where the hell we were communicating. We were on Facebook. And we were messaging back and forth. This guy was busting my balls to design a funnel page for him for $200. And that was too expensive for him.
Damn.
That was too expensive for him. He couldn't fit, like he was just like, no way, man. Right? They started picking up serious momentum. They get bit by the branding bug. Now I'm in Russell Brunson's inner circle group and we're at a meeting and who walks in? Brandon and Kaylin Poland. And I'm laughing going, nice to see you here. And they said, Henry, we need your help. We need to be branded because we're treading water right now. And we are on the brink of explosion. I mean, in a good way, So we went through a rebrand. We rebranded all of their funnels and made everything super, super consistent. And they built a multi-million-dollar brand off of the Lady Boss brand, off of the back of Kaylin. But Kaylin doesn't need to, she's still part of it, but
yeah,
they can sell the Lady Boss brand now.
It's freestanding now, yeah.
Which was kind of the conversation we had on Monday. We were kind of touching upon this on Monday, but this is the trend that I see, right? This is the trend that I see. Yeah. And that's powerful stuff, man. It's powerful stuff. So my question to the audience is, what's your plan? What's your plan? What's your 2 to 3 to 4 year plan look like? Are you going to be on the same hamster wheel you're on right now 3 years from now? Or do you need a process, a system, a guide to help you get to where you want to be? You think LeBron James did this all on his own without any guidance? What about Floyd Mayweather? Think he got to where he's at all by himself? What about Oprah? By the way, I love Oprah. Anytime I'm listening, I'm shooting through podcasts and I see Oprah as a guest, I listen to it. She is like I've heard two sides. I've heard many things about Oprah. Well, obviously, I'm probably never going to meet her, but I've heard that she could be very strict and stern. And then I heard she's like the most wonderful woman in the planet. Like when you meet her, she's like, you would never know that she was Oprah. Like she makes you feel like, yeah. She makes you feel like I'm just Oprah, right? Which I love, by the way. I love people that don't think that they are who they are, but they are who they are. Like I love those people. But man, some of the interviews I've been listening to lately with featuring Oprah as the guest is so good. So highly recommend. She's got this new book out. I haven't read it yet, but I'm gonna go get it and listen to it because it's amazing. Everybody's raving about it, and I have to listen to it. But you think she got to where she's at today by herself?
No.
Right? No. They had a plan, they had a vision, and they found the right people to help them get there. And now they're doing their thing.
So like you said, board of directors, right? Like have specific board of directors in around you. They're your trusted advisors.
Yeah.
So and the right people in the right seats.
That's it. So Oprah could do her thing, and she's got everybody else that is doing it for her, right? And the one thing that she said, oh man, she has this one guy that is part of her board of directors, if you will. I forget his name, but she made a good point. And she said, the reason why I love him so much, and he's been with me for 20 something years or something, it's because he tells me the real deal, not what I want to hear.
Yeah.
Like not what I need, but what I need to hear. And she goes, there's been times where I haven't talked to him for 4 days because he was so stern with me. Like you need those people to check you. Like my wife, I'm lucky. My wife is one of those people, right? And I'm lucky to have business colleagues that tell me what I need to hear, not what I want to hear. And so when you're building out your board of directors for your business to help you build your personal brand and your business, your empire, your legacy, whatever it is, make sure you hire the people that are going to tell you straight, not the people that are going to blow smoke up your ass and tell you what you want to hear.
Be transparent.
Yeah, because that's what's going to help you get out of your own way, right? That's truly going to help you get to those next levels. And so just to tie this all back up, it's going to be interesting to see what college athletes are going to do with this power, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
Curious to see what they do. Do they bounce out of college sooner than normal? Do they stick around because there's more money to be made in college? I'm curious to see how this all gets built up. But I will tell you, personal branding is a thing, whether you think it is or not. And if you're in the early stages of your business, not startup, like I have no clients, but you've been in business for 3-4 years, you have a decent book of client, and you're looking to go to that next level and systemize things, automate things, become more of a presence online, you might want to start thinking about establishing your board of directors, because it's tough to do on your own.
Yeah.
It's really, really tough. I spent 5 years doing it alone. And one of my biggest regrets, I think, is I wish I could have built my team sooner.
Yeah. We all have that same regret.
Right?
That same regret, right?
Right? It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Crazy. The amount of I think back and I'm like, man, if I would have started running ads sooner, or started doing podcasts sooner, right? Podcasts.
Yes.
I remember my biggest thing with podcasts was, oh shit, how do I publish these things? How do I edit them? How do I got caught up in the how do I, how? And then this guy comes along, client of mine comes along and says, I got a done for you service. It's $350 a month. We'll do 8 shows, 2 a week. I'm like, I couldn't send him the PayPal fast enough. Because I'm like, all I got to do, you're kidding me. All I got to do is record the damn thing. Yeah. I'm in. I'm in.
So easy.
Makes it so easy. So easy. So I would love to know, because you have a great backstory, and we're not, again, don't go, you could go as deep as you want, but here's my story. Here's my question for you. If you can go back 36 months, let's keep it pretty.
Okay.
Let's keep
A
it
little
pretty.
bit more near term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you can go back 36 months and change one thing in regards to your personal brand, what would you have changed?
Yeah. I would say this right here. This, just getting involved with and connecting with, people that are part of my industry that are already well ahead of me. So, and then of course, taking part in this, but honestly, I wasn't as clear about how I was positioned. I mean, yes, I was working behind a lot. I was just tremendously working behind the scenes and really just helping my clients and gaining that notoriety amongst them. And as a matter of fact, one of my clients brought this up to me just yesterday. He said, Awais, your biggest or like your most impactful trademark is the fact that you're always looking for the next best thing. And you're bringing that next best idea for us. So how is that relevant today is just because I didn't realize that at that point in time. And because I didn't realize that, I didn't know how to leverage it. Because I had no clarity around it, I didn't know how to talk about it. And I couldn't lead my business with confidence. I was just constantly in this state of anxiety. And I talk about this all the time now. And I try to attach that with branding, because once you're clear about what you want to gain out of branding, what you want to gain out of actually using your image, your likeness, your name, then you know what it represents. And once you're clear about what it represents, then you're able to lead that with more confidence. You're no longer anxious about it.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. One of my buddies on Instagram, he just hit 150,000 followers organically. And he said, what did I learn from the process? And he said, one was to give the audience, or to give the platform, Instagram, what it wanted. So use the features that it wants you to use. 1. 2, he said, realizing that being yourself works better than any other strategy, technique, tactic ever. I thought that was huge. That was a big one. And I feel like a lot of people get caught up in the flash. A lot of people get caught up in the stuff or the comparisons. You don't know what
they think. It's that superficialness, man. And they think that sells. But do you really want that type of a client? And who do you think is actually going to be gravitating towards that? So, I was asked that question. But look, it all comes down to one thing: clarity every single time. Clarity on what is it that you represent. And clarity in who you want to speak to.
Huge. You got to get clear on that, folks. Awais and I beat this to a pulp. But it's so true. I love
formula
Joshua.
remains the same. Joshua, how's it going, man?
Yeah, Joshua says, people know authenticity instinctually. Yes, exactly. Yeah, they know. They know. They know. As I'll be honest, you and I have this conversation offline recently about getting around people that are going to lift you, getting around people that you feel comfortable with, getting around people that are better than you in certain areas of your life. And there's so much more to life when you are okay with that. I'll give you a quick example. I was watching a video yesterday, and the guy was saying, like, when you hire somebody and you pay a premium for it, you're admitting that person's better than you in that specific thing. And that's hard for entrepreneurs. That's a hard pill for entrepreneurs to swallow.
You got to check your ego at the door. If you want to grow, check your ego at the door. And I guess that's how I would probably answer your question, Henry, in terms of 36 months ago, my ego was still showing up with me. And that will hold you back.
Yeah, it's good to have healthy ego, but to your point, you really gotta check it. Yeah, you gotta check it. When it starts rolling up, you gotta check it, because you gotta say, where's this coming from? Yeah. Why am I feeling this way? What is this sign? What is this trying to tell me? And step away from it. Right?
Is it holding me back?
Yeah, that's what happens. Yeah. That's what happens. That's what happens. And you just have to, you have to let it go. And it's funny. One of my old coaches, they said this. They said, in order to have the control, you got to give it up. Yeah. And if that's not the truth,
that is so true, man.
Holy cow. I'll give you a quick example. Over the past month, I've let the rain out. I let the slack out, if you will, of me doing everything inside of my business, like posting, social media posts, like on Instagram and YouTube and stuff, and doing emails. Now I have my team doing all of that. And it's crazy. Over the past month, we've grown like 300-400 subscribers on YouTube. And I'm like, oh, that's how you grow? When you get out of your own damn way and you stop doing shit you're not supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
Oh, that's how you get a better conversion rate, is when you put better people in the right place. And again, I scream this stuff from the rooftops, but sometimes I don't act. And I'll be the first to admit, sometimes I like to control things. I'm no different than you guys are. I just have certain triggers that help me release. And then when I release, I go. And that's it. I'm not perfect. I wish I could tell you I follow every piece of advice that I give. Most of the time I do. Sometimes I don't. I used to beat myself up over that. Now I don't. So it says, Joshua says here, when you let go of some of the things, it gives you room to breathe deeper and grow and to be healthier. Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
That's true.
I couldn't agree more. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens over the next couple of years when it comes to, again, personal branding in the college sports arena. I'm curious to see what personal branding is going to do in our space, in the online market.
Yeah. And
real curious to see what's going on here, especially with all this craziness going on with Bezos and Branson going to space. Talk about brand. right? And building brand around you. I heard this really cool conversation this morning on my walk about Weber grills. Weber, the brand, the Weber. They make grills that you put outside, right? And you cook stuff on. Did you know that 24% of grill owners in the world have a Weber grill? Like, what was it? One in 3 Americans own a Weber grill. Yep. And there was some crazy, and in Germany, Weber is huge. It's almost like half of the country owns Weber grill or something like that. Don't quote me on that, but crazy numbers. So recently I got into really paying attention to brands that are about to go public and trade publicly. And Weber filed its paperwork. It's going to go public.
Wow.
And one of the things, it's called an S1 document. I'm not too familiar with it, but it's basically the document that they have to file to let the world know that they want to go public. And in their S1 document, they mentioned the word brand 268 times or something like that. And basically what they were saying is their brand is more important than their product. Their brand is more important to them than their product. And that's interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because they're putting a lot of emphasis on the brand. And I guess they have to release, like in this S1 document, what some of the weaknesses are, and they said one of the weaknesses is if something terrible happens and there's a Weber grill involved, like that could really affect our branding. They didn't say anything about the grill itself. They were, they didn't
got a lot of
say,
equity in that.
yeah, their supply chain is not the issue. None of that. It's our name.
Yeah. Wow.
So let's take that, for example. That's Weber grills. Let's take the same concept and philosophy and put it on us as a personal brand. Would you say that you could agree with Weber that your personal brand is worth more than the product itself?
Most certainly. If you've put enough work into it, right?
Yeah. So powerful stuff, guys. I have an interview I got to jump on in 10 minutes, so I'm going to wrap this up. But looks like somebody says here, Weber grills are prerequisites to Traeger. Traeger is the better brand. Yeah. I'm sure Traeger's a phenomenal brand.
Let me put a closing thought on this the impact of a personal brand.
Please.
And you brought up Richard Branson, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, right? Mm-hmm. Think about how many new companies they've opened up since their initial, let's say, okay, well, with Elon Musk, he had PayPal, and then after that, he started Tesla and SpaceX. But you didn't really, he used his stardom, or he used his position to really gain that momentum and gain that presence for each one of those. Now, yes, they build great products and they're doing great things, right? But at the same time, Elon Musk is using his position. Same thing with Richard Branson. He used his particular personal brand to really catapult this project that allowed for him to now go into outer space.
Yep.
Right.
It's huge.
Yeah. And same thing with Jeff Bezos.
Yeah. So there's a lot to think about here, guys.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weight that your personal brand can pull if you leverage it the right way.
Yeah.
And
so no matter what brand or business you start, let's say you have 5 additional businesses that show up afterwards. Now you can use your personal brand as leverage and really be able to help those particular brands gain even more momentum. That doesn't mean that you don't brand them. You still end up branding those businesses and creating that positioning for them. But now you use your weight to be able to now really pull them forward.
That's it. Bingo. Guys, hope you enjoyed today's conversation. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, push that subscribe button. Drop in the comments below. Let us know what your biggest takeaway of today's conversation was. And like always, if you want some one-on-one help with building your personal brand into a business brand and helping scale and build a brand that truly represents who you are and what you stand for and how you want to make the world a better place, highly recommend booking a one-on-one brand assessment with me to navigate what's stopping you from doing that and figuring out what needs to be done to get it to where you want to go. So have an amazing day, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one next Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern. I'll catch you then. Take care.